Lyra stood at the edge of the waiting hall, her small hands folded tightly in front of her. The floor beneath her feet was cold metal, polished smooth by years of passing travelers who never looked down. Around her, voices echoed in many languages, sharp and fast, full of purpose. None of them were meant for her. Her skin shifted faintly in color, a pale glow that reacted to her feelings. She tried to keep it still. She had learned that changing too much made the others uncomfortable. The caretakers had told her many times, "Control yourself. Be quiet. Do not feel too much." A flat screen on the far wall flashed names and species codes. Each time it changed, another child stood up, guided away by hopeful sponsors. Some cried with joy. Some looked scared but excited. Lyra stayed where she was. Her name never appeared. This was the seventh station. She remembered the others before it. The soft-lit shelter near the orange star. The cold medical habitat where no one spoke to her directly. The family that lasted only 3 days before returning her in silence. Each place ended the same way. A form signed. A quiet escort. Another mark added to her record. Rejected. Returned. Incompatible. A tall official approached her, his posture stiff, his eyes careful. He did not kneel. They never did anymore. "Lyra," he said, his voice neutral, "you will remain here until further notice." She nodded. She always nodded. Words were dangerous. Words made feelings rise, and feelings made the air heavy. As he walked away, Lyra felt the familiar pressure building in her chest. She focused on slowing her breathing, just as she had been taught. Still, the lights above her flickered. Somewhere nearby, someone groaned softly and rubbed their head. She froze.
"I am sorry," she whispered, though no one had spoken to her. Across the hall, a human stood watching.
Evan had not planned to stop at the resettlement station. His cargo ship needed only fuel and clearance, nothing more. He had passed through dozens like it. Same walls, same tired faces, same feeling of things being processed instead of helped. He turned to leave, then noticed the girl. She was alone in a way that felt heavier than distance. Not crying, not moving, just standing, as if she had learned that hope caused pain. When the lights flickered, Evan felt it too. Not pain, something else. A wave of sadness that was not his own, brushing against him like cold air. He frowned. Humans were sensitive, but not like this. Training taught him to ignore emotional noise from alien spaces. This was different. He stepped closer. Caretakers stiffened immediately. One move to block his path. "She is not available," the caretaker said quickly. "I did not ask," Evan replied. "I just want to know why she looks like that." The caretaker hesitated. She has been returned too many times. Her species emits uncontrolled emotional feedback. It causes distress in most beings. Evan looked back at Lyra. She stared at the floor, shoulders tense, as if waiting to be blamed for something. "What happens to her now?" he asked. The caretaker lowered his voice. "Permanent intake, restricted environment, no further placement attempts." Lyra heard that part. Permanent meant no windows, no names, no trying again. Her glow dimmed to almost nothing. Evan felt it like a punch to the chest. "That's it?" he said. "She's a kid." "She is a risk," the caretaker replied, "and no one wants her." For a long moment, Evan said nothing. Then station alarms blared. Red lights flashed. Doors sealed. The crowd panicked as security systems activated. "What's happening?" someone shouted. The caretaker swore. "Emotional surge. It must be." Evan was already moving. He knelt in front of Lyra, ignoring protocol, ignoring the warnings shouted behind him. "Hey," he said softly. "Look at me." She lifted her eyes slowly, fear written across her face. "I didn't mean to," she said.
I tried. I know, Evan replied. You're not in trouble. The pressure eased.
The light steadied. Silence fell across the hall. Every eye turned toward them. Lyra felt something new then. Not hope, not fear, stability. And for the first time, someone did not step away from her. Lyra clutched her thin blanket as the transport ship hummed beneath her feet. The walls vibrated lightly with the engines, but it was not the vibration that made her anxious. It was the thought of what might happen next. Every time she had been moved before, something had gone wrong. She had been returned. She had been rejected. She had been alone. And now she was on another ship with a human she barely knew, whose calm eyes somehow made her feel both safe and uneasy. Evan watched her closely, careful not to move too quickly or speak too sharply. "You don't need to be afraid," he said. "I'm not like the others." Lyra tilted her head and studied him. She wanted to believe it, but years of rejection made belief feel dangerous. Her skin flickered in soft shades of pink and blue, reflecting her nervous pulse. She had been taught that her kind's emotional reactions could overwhelm almost anyone else, that most beings could not handle the strength of what she felt. That was why she had been returned so many times. I will try," she whispered, her voice barely above the hum of the ship. Evan nodded. "You don't need to try to be anything. Just be yourself." For hours, they flew through quiet space. Evan monitored the navigation panels and ship systems, but his attention kept drifting back to Lyra. She stayed mostly silent, staring out the observation window, watching the stars blur into streaks as the ship moved faster than her mind could follow. Every so often her body pulsed with faint light, a visible sign of the emotion she tried so hard to hold inside. "Your species," Evan began cautiously. "No one has ever been able to handle it, right?" She did not like speaking about it. It was the reason for all her failures, all her loneliness. "No one ever stays," she said softly. Evan frowned. He had seen people face danger before, even alien danger, but he had never seen something like this. It was not violent or angry. It was pure emotion, radiating from her in waves that almost made the instruments flicker. And yet he felt no pain, no fear. Humans were different. Maybe that was why he could stand here, looking at her, without collapsing like everyone else she had met. "Then maybe you just need someone who can understand it," he said carefully. Lyra's glow shifted to soft green, a color she rarely allowed herself to feel. It meant she wanted to trust, wanted to hope, but hope had always led to pain. She looked at him, uncertain. I don't know if anyone can." Evan leaned closer. "I think humans can. Maybe we are not like the others. We do not break when we feel too much." Her eyes widened slightly. "You feel it? And you do not hurt?" He shook his head. "No, I feel it. And it is strange, but it does not hurt me. Ha! It feels like you want someone to notice you. And I do. I notice you, Lyra." She wanted to recoil. She had wanted to recoil so many times before. But somehow she could not. For the first time, someone was not afraid. Someone was not leaving. Someone was not sending her back. The journey continued in silence. Outside the windows, stars shifted and twirled in patterns that made her dizzy. Inside, the tension between them throbbed quietly, like a hidden heartbeat. Evan finally broke the quiet. "There are rules," he said softly. "Rules that say I should not even be taking you with me. Rules that say I could get in trouble." Lyra frowned. Why are you doing this?" "Because you deserve a chance," Evan said simply. "You deserve someone who will stay. I have seen what happens when everyone leaves. I will not do that." The words were simple, but they carried weight. Lyra had never heard anything like them. Each time someone said something similar, it had been a lie, or they had left anyway. She wanted to believe him, but the fear in her chest pressed down like heavy metal. Hours passed. The stars shifted again. The ship passed through a field of glowing debris, and small alarms beeped. Lyra's body pulsed faster with each warning. Evan's hands moved over the controls calmly. He guided the ship steadily, talking to her in small, quiet sentences. "You see this? This is nothing. Just a field of rocks. We can get through it." Lyra's glow started to match his calm tone. It was faint, but it was a start. She had never felt control for so long in her life. Then the alarms changed. A new light blinked red. The ship's sensors picked up a fast-approaching vessel. "What is that?" Lyra whispered, fear creeping in again. "A patrol," Evan said quietly. "They track any unauthorized transfer from a station. They think this is a violation." Her body pulsed brighter. Fear and anxiety collided in a torrent of colors. She wanted to hide. She wanted to vanish. She wanted to be back where the world was safe, even if that meant being alone again. Evan reached for her hand. She flinched but did not pull away. "Listen," he said, his voice steady. "You are not causing this. They do not understand you. They think you are a danger, but you are not." "I know you are not." She blinked, trying to take in his words. The patrol vessel was coming closer, their engines humming a sharp warning that vibrated through the floor. "They can force us to stop," she whispered. They will take me." "They always take me." Evan squeezed her hand. "Not this time. I will not let them. You are not returning anywhere. You will not be alone again." Lyra wanted to believe him, but belief had always hurt. She closed her eyes, trying to control the flood of emotion that leaked out of her. Her skin flickered violently as the patrol ship's sensors scanned the area. Lights inside her mind screamed at her. Panic threatened to take over. Evan tightened his grip on her hand. "Focus on me. Just me. Nothing else. You can do this." It was the first time anyone had ever told her that, and somehow she believed it, even as her body glowed brighter than it ever had. The patrol ship's voice came over comms, a harsh alien language. They demanded that the ship stop immediately. They threatened force. Lyra's glow surged with each word. The lights inside the cabin pulsed. Evan's systems flickered. "Steady," he said. "I need you calm. I know you can do this." She inhaled, long and slow. She focused only on his voice, only on the warmth of his hand. Slowly, her glow shifted from chaotic colors to a soft, steady green. The alarms dimmed. The patrol ship's scanners read normal levels again. Evan exhaled. "See? You are stronger than they think, stronger than anyone ever believed." Tears gathered in Lyra's eyes. They were tears of relief, of fear, of something she had never had before: trust. I never thought, she whispered. You don't have to think yet, Evan said. Just stay with me. That's enough for now. Hours passed. The patrol ship finally drifted away, leaving only the quiet hum of space around them. Lyra sat back, her body still trembling slightly, but her mind felt lighter. She had survived. She had not been returned. She had not been rejected this time. For the first time in her life, she felt something she could not name. Not fear, not pain, not loneliness. Something else. Maybe it was hope. Evan glanced at her, smiling softly. You're doing fine, he said. You're safe here. Lyra looked at him and allowed a small smile. It felt strange on her lips, almost foreign, but she liked it. She liked the way it made her feel. The stars streaked past the window, calm now, endless and bright. For once, Lyra did not feel like she was trapped in a world that wanted to push her away. For once, she felt that maybe, just maybe, someone could stay. And she wanted to believe it. The ship glided through deep space, quiet, except for the low hum of the engines. Lyra sat near the observation window, her hands resting on her knees. The stars stretched past her like ribbons of light, endless and strange, and she pressed her forehead against the glass, trying to understand them. They moved so fast, yet they were so far away. It was dizzying, but it made her feel small in a way that was not frightening. Evan was nearby, checking the ship's navigation panel, but he kept glancing at her. He did not say much. He had learned that silence was often better than words when Lyra's feelings were strong. Her species reacted to the simplest touch of emotion, and any sudden change could overwhelm almost anyone else. He had seen it before, but now he was calm. He trusted that she could control herself here, with him. You are quiet, he said gently. Do you want to talk? Lyra shook her head, her glow faintly flickering. I don't know what to say, she whispered. Everything is moving too fast. Evan nodded. That's okay.
You don't have to say anything. Just stay here.
She felt the warmth of his presence, and for the first time, the tight knot of fear inside her chest loosened. She had been moved from place to place so many times that she had stopped expecting comfort. People always left, always returned her, always told her she was too much to handle. But now he did not leave. He stayed. Hours passed in quiet observation. Lyra's body pulsed gently in soft colors that matched her tentative mood. She realized that she could breathe without fear, could sit without trembling, could exist without being punished for her feelings. It was strange. It was new. It was almost frightening. Suddenly, a sharp alarm cut through the quiet. The ship's sensors were picking up an anomaly. Evan's hands moved over the controls quickly, but carefully. Something is approaching, he said. It's fast and coming close. Lyra's glow shifted. Panic rose in her chest, but Evan's steady presence helped her control it. She took a deep breath and focused on the sound of his voice. What is it? She whispered. Unknown ship, he said. It's not friendly. We need to stay calm and follow procedures. Her body pulsed brighter, the fear mingling with adrenaline. Her mind raced with memories of every time she had been returned, every time she had been abandoned. She imagined the officials who had marked her file, the families who had rejected her, the lonely nights she had spent in cold rooms with nothing but her own thoughts. Evan reached out and touched her shoulder lightly. "I need you to stay with me," he said. "We can get through this together." She closed her eyes and focused on his words. Slowly, the panic subsided. Her glow became steady and soft. She realized that she could survive this. She had survived everything before, and now she was not alone. The approaching ship sent out a warning pulse, a bright wave of energy that made the ship's shields flicker. Evan adjusted the controls, guiding the vessel away from the most dangerous path. Ah! Lyra felt the pulse in her chest, a sharp, jarring sensation, but she did not collapse. She was holding herself together, holding on to the calm Evan offered. "This is not the first time you've faced danger," he said quietly. "You are stronger than you think." Lyra wanted to believe him. She wanted to believe it more than anything. Her species had always been treated like fragile tools or dangerous weapons, but he treated her like a person, like a being capable of choice and strength. The unknown ship closed in, scanning them with bright lights that pierced the observation window. Evan's hands moved quickly but calmly, diverting power to shields and engines. Lyra watched him, amazed at his composure. She realized that he had faced danger many times before and had learned to stay steady. He was teaching her without words to do the same. Suddenly, the ship's sensors picked up another signal, an emergency alert from the patrol that had followed them before. They were closing in again. Lyra's heart raced. She had survived so much, but now it felt like everything was coming together to crush her. She wanted to scream, to hide, to vanish. Evan noticed her fear. "Look at me," he said. "Nothing is going to happen to you. I will not let them take you away. Stay with me." She focused on his eyes, on his steady voice. Slowly, the fear began to fade. Her glow softened, matching the rhythm of his words. She realized that she had not felt this calm in her life. She had never felt anyone promise safety and actually mean it. The unknown ship hesitated, scanning them but not attacking. Evan took advantage of the pause, adjusting their course and slipping through a narrow asteroid field. Lyra's body pulsed with concentration as she helped, instinctively focusing her emotional energy to stabilize the ship's systems, something her species could do naturally when in control. The patrol and unknown ship finally gave up the chase, leaving them alone in the vast quiet of space. Lyra slumped into her seat, exhausted but relieved. She had survived again. She had not been returned. She had not been rejected. Evan smiled at her. "See, you are stronger than anyone ever gave you credit for."
You can handle this.
Tears gathered in Lyra's eyes. She had never heard anything like that before. People had always told her she was too much, too dangerous, too emotional. But now, someone told her she was enough, and she felt it, deep inside. She felt it. For the first time in her life, she allowed herself to hope, not just for safety, not just for a place to stay, but for something more. She allowed herself to imagine a life where she was not abandoned, where someone believed in her. Evan turned back to the controls, keeping an eye on the sensors. "We are not out of danger yet, but we are safe for now. And we will stay safe." Together, Lyra nodded, still trembling slightly, but her glow was steady. She realized that she could trust him, not completely yet, but enough to feel safe, enough to survive. Hours passed. The stars moved past the window, endless and bright. Lyra's thoughts wandered, thinking of all the times she had been returned, all the loneliness she had felt. She wondered if other children like her were out there, waiting for someone who would not leave. Evan noticed her gaze.
You are thinking about them, he said softly.
"Yes." she whispered. All the others, they never had someone like you. He nodded. Maybe someday they will. Maybe humans can be that someone for others like you. Her glow shifted, soft and pale, a color of cautious hope. She had never believed in hope before. She had never allowed herself to feel it. But now, with him, it was possible. They spent the rest of the journey in quiet companionship. Evan adjusted the course, keeping an eye on the navigation panels while Lyra watched the stars. She did not speak much, but she felt his presence, and that was enough. She had survived the chase. She had survived the fear. She had survived the unknown. For the first time in her life, Lyra felt that maybe, just maybe, she could be more than the sum of all the places that had rejected her. She could survive. She could feel. She could hope. And she could stay with someone who would not leave. The human settlement on the distant frontier planet was quiet and peaceful compared to the crowded resettlement stations Lyra had known. Evan guided the ship through the docking bay, the engines slowing until the hum became a soft vibration under their feet. Lyra clutched her small blanket, still feeling the aftershocks of the chase through space. She had survived the unknown ships, the patrols, and the fear, but her heart still beat quickly, warning her that danger could return at any moment. The humans who came to meet them were calm and curious. Doctors, engineers, and xenopsychologists greeted them, speaking in soft voices and offering warm smiles. They did not flinch at Lyra's glow. They did not step back. They only looked at her with interest, as if her presence was not a threat, but a mystery to understand.
Evan introduced her carefully.
This is Lyra, he said. She is not dangerous.
She just feels things very strongly. Humans can handle it. The scientists exchanged glances. One of them, a woman with gray hair pulled back in a neat bun, stepped forward. We have studied cases like her species before, she said. Most races cannot handle their emotional resonance. But humans are different. Some of you seem able to adapt. Lyra blinked. Nobody had ever said that to her before. Most beings treated her like she was a problem, something to be hidden or contained. But here, people were studying her because they wanted to understand her, not because they feared her. They took her to a small room with soft lighting and comfortable chairs. Evan stayed close, letting her know he was not going anywhere. Lyra sat on the edge of a chair, her glow flickering softly as she tried to calm herself. The doctors had equipment to measure her emotional waves, but the instruments only flickered slightly. Evan had taught her how to focus, how to breathe slowly, and now her emotions were steady, manageable. You are safe here, Evan said quietly. No one is going to hurt you. Lyra wanted to believe it, but a small part of her still expected someone to take her away, to return her to the lonely halls of the stations she had known. She shivered. A doctor stepped closer, kneeling slightly to be at her eye level. Can you tell me how you feel right now? She asked gently. Lyra hesitated. Speaking had often caused chaos before, made others uncomfortable, made her afraid. But she looked at Evan, and then at the doctor, and something in her told her it was safe. But also afraid.
But Doctor nodded. That is very good.
You are learning to control yourself. That is a remarkable skill. Lyra's glow shifted from pale green to a soft gold. She had never been called remarkable before. She had never been told she had skills that mattered. Evan smiled. I told you humans can handle this. You are not too much for us. Days passed, and Lyra began to settle into the rhythm of the settlement. She learned to walk through the quiet halls without fear, to eat meals without trembling, to speak without worrying that her voice would push people away. She even began to explore small gardens outside the main buildings, where the air smelled of strange flowers and soft rain. It was nothing like the crowded, sterile stations she had known. At night, she and Evan would sit by the observation window, watching the stars move slowly across the sky. "Do you think anyone else like me could live here?" she asked softly one evening.
I think so, Evan replied. Humans are learning to understand your species.
"Maybe one day more of your kind will have places where they belong." Lyra's glow pulsed faintly, a mixture of hope and caution. She wanted to believe it, but she remembered the time she had been returned, rejected, told she was too much. Could it really be different this time? The next day, the news came. Messages from other stations and colonies reported sightings of her species, abandoned children just like her. Some had been rejected for decades. Some were locked in containment, waiting for someone who might never come. Lyra's heart ached. She had thought she was alone. But she realized now that there were others, children who needed help, children who needed someone to believe in them. Evan noticed her expression. "You are thinking about them?" he said. "Yes," she whispered. "All the others. They never had anyone like you." He nodded. "Maybe someday they will. Maybe humans can help more of your kind." Lyra felt something swell inside her. It was not fear. It was not panic. It was determination. She wanted to survive, yes, but she also wanted to help others survive, to give them the chance she had only just been given. But not everyone was happy about this. Messages arrived from alien authorities who had monitored the chase and her transfer. They were concerned. Her species was considered dangerous, and humans who bonded with them could change the balance of power. Orders were sent to reclaim her, to bring her back under strict containment. Lyra heard about it and felt her chest tighten. Fear and panic mixed, threatening to spill over. But Evan was there, calm and steady, holding her hand. "We will face this," he said quietly. "You are not alone. I will not let them take you back." She blinked, trying to steady herself. He was right. She had survived being returned 7 times, survived being chased through space, survived her own fear, and now she had someone who would fight for her. She could not fail, not this time. The authorities sent their envoys, ships appearing quietly in orbit above the settlement. Their presence was calm but firm, a warning that they intended to enforce their orders. Lyra's pulse quickened, and her glow flared with anxiety. Evan adjusted the shields and prepared the settlement's communications to respond diplomatically. "You are strong," he said. "You can control this. I know you can." Lyra focused on his words, breathing slowly. Slowly the flare of her glow subsided into steady light. She realized something important. She was not just surviving. She was learning to control herself, to use her feelings without hurting others. For the first time, she felt that her species' power could be a gift, not a curse. The envoys sent messages demanding custody, claiming she was too dangerous to remain with humans. But Evan and the settlement's leaders stood firm, arguing that she was not dangerous and that humans had proven compatibility. Lyra listened, her glow shifting through colors of uncertainty and resolve. She realized she could participate, could speak for herself, could show that she was not what they said she was. When she finally spoke, her voice was calm but strong. "I am not dangerous," she said. "I am me. I want to live, and I want to stay." I will not hurt anyone. I will not run away. I am not alone anymore." The envoys paused, surprised by her courage. They had expected fear, chaos, panic, but they saw something else: control, strength, and hope. Evan squeezed her hand. "See, you are stronger than they think." Lyra realized he was right. She was stronger than anyone had believed. She had survived countless returns, countless rejections, countless fears, and now she was not alone. She had someone who believed in her. She had a home. And for the first time, she allowed herself to imagine a future where she could live freely, not just for herself, but for others like her. She could help them, protect them, show them that humans could be trusted, that hope could exist, that family could be more than a word. The envoys finally left, still wary but unable to force her back. Lyra's chest swelled with relief. She had won, but more importantly, she had survived and grown stronger. She realized that she was not just a child who needed protection. She was a being who could help change the world for her species. "You did it," he said. "You faced them. You stayed calm. You showed them who you are." Lyra smiled softly, a glow of pale gold illuminating her features. "I am not alone," she whispered. "And I never will be again." Outside, the stars moved slowly across the sky. Lyra watched them, her heart lighter than it had ever been. She had survived, she had hope, and she had a home. And for the first time, she believed that maybe, just maybe, the world could change because of her. The day began quietly on the settlement, with soft light spilling over the buildings and the gardens where Lyra had begun to explore. She walked alongside Evan, her small hand gripping his. They had planned to enjoy the morning, to breathe the fresh air and feel normal for just a few hours. But calm never lasted long. Without warning, alarms echoed across the settlement. Red lights flashed, and the soft hum of the life systems was interrupted by warning signals. Lyra's glow flickered violently, fear rising in her chest before she even understood the cause. Evan immediately moved to her side, steadying her with his presence. "They are here," he said calmly, though his jaw tightened. "Authority ships. They have returned." Lyra's heart dropped. She had survived being returned before, chased through space, and faced patrols. But this felt different. This time, it was her home that was under threat. The settlement she had begun to trust, the humans who had begun to believe in her, now faced the full power of the authorities that had once sent her back again and again. "They want to take me?" she whispered, her voice trembling. "Yes," Evan said, his grip firm, "but I will not let them." "You are not going anywhere without a fight." The ships landed above the settlement with a controlled, precise motion. Authority figures, serious and impersonal, walked through the docking bay, their eyes scanning everything. They moved with the confidence of those who expected obedience. Lyra's glow flared with tension. Her body trembled, her emotions reaching a level she had never allowed herself to feel in front of so many before. Evan stayed close, his calm presence a shield against the panic threatening to spill out of her. "Listen to me," he said quietly. "We know the rules. We know what they think. But we also know the truth."
You are safe with us. I will not let them take you.
The envoys of the authorities approached. One of them, a tall figure with sharp, angular features, spoke with a voice that demanded compliance. "This child is considered a dangerous biological entity. You are in violation of galactic custody laws. We are reclaiming her immediately." Lyra shrank slightly, her glow dimming. She had heard this language many times before. The word dangerous had followed her everywhere. Each time she had been called dangerous, she had been returned. Each time she had been told she was too much, she had been left alone. Evan placed himself slightly in front of her. "She is not dangerous," he said firmly. "She is capable, yes, but she is not a threat. You have been misled by assumptions, not facts." The envoys looked at him with skepticism. "You are human," one said. "You cannot be expected to understand her species. You are biologically incompatible." "She is a risk to everyone." "She is compatible with humans," Evan said, his voice rising just slightly. "I have proof. I am proof. She has been calm, cooperative, and stable. Her presence does not harm us. You cannot claim otherwise." Lyra looked up at him, a flicker of hope in her eyes. For the first time, someone was standing up for her. Truly standing. Not a temporary family who would return her. Not a caretaker who would mark her file and leave. Someone who would fight. Someone who would not abandon her. The envoys paused, consulting among themselves. Lyra realized she could speak. They had never allowed her to speak before, had never treated her words as anything important. But now, with Evan supporting her, she had a voice. "I am not dangerous," she said, her voice trembling but clear. "I want to live. I want to stay. I am not alone anymore. I can control myself." "I am not what you think." The envoys looked at her with surprise. They had expected fear, chaos, and panic. They had expected her to collapse under the pressure. But she had not. She was calm. She was strong. Evan squeezed her hand. "See? You are capable. You are not what they think. You have control." Lyra's glow pulsed gently, a soft gold this time. She had never been called capable before, never been told she had control. She had only known rejection and fear. The envoys debated, speaking quietly among themselves. They had not anticipated this. Their reports had always assumed she would collapse, that humans could not handle her species. But the evidence in front of them was undeniable. She was calm. She was not dangerous. She had survived. One envoy, the leader, finally spoke. "Your claim is unusual, but evidence cannot be ignored. If humans are truly compatible, we will monitor but not reclaim the child. Any instability and custody will be reconsidered." "Lyra," exhaled slowly. Relief washed over her, but she remained cautious. She had survived so much to reach this point. She could not allow herself to relax completely yet. Evan noticed her tension and rubbed her shoulder gently.
"You did it," he said softly. "You faced them."
"You showed them who you are. You survived without fear. You are stronger than they ever imagined." Lyra blinked, tears forming in her eyes. I never thought anyone would believe me," she whispered. "I never thought anyone would stay." Evan shook his head. "I told you, I will not leave. Humans can handle you. You are not too much for us." Over the next days, the settlement adapted to the presence of the authority monitors, but Lyra was allowed to stay. She continued to explore, learn, and grow. The humans helped her practice control of her emotions, guiding her to understand how powerful she could be without harming anyone. She learned to walk confidently through the halls, to speak clearly without fear, and to help others understand her presence rather than fear it. Lyra began to realize something important. She was not just surviving anymore. She was learning to thrive. She had faced authorities, patrols, and countless returns, and she had not broken. She had not collapsed. She had spoken for herself. Evan noticed the change in her. "You are no longer just a child being protected," he said. "You are someone who can stand up, who can help others, who can survive even the hardest trials."
You are becoming stronger every day. Lyra looked at him, her glow steady and soft.
"I never knew I could be like this," she said quietly. "I never knew I could feel safe and strong at the same time." "You deserve it," Evan said. "You deserve someone who believes in you, someone who will not abandon you. And now you have that." For the first time in her life, Lyra allowed herself to hope fully. She imagined a future where she was safe, where she could help others of her species, where she could live without fear of being returned or rejected. She realized that she had survived countless trials, not just because of her own strength, but because someone had chosen to stay with her, to believe in her, and to fight for her. And she understood something else. Strength was not just about surviving. It was about trust. It was about having someone beside you, believing in you, even when the world had never given you a reason to believe in yourself. The envoys eventually left, still wary but unable to challenge the human settlement. Lyra had survived the greatest test she had faced yet. She had not just survived, she had proven herself. Evan looked at her with quiet pride. "You did it," he said. "You faced them, you spoke, you stayed calm. You showed them who you are, and you survived, stronger than ever." Lyra smiled softly, her glow a gentle gold. "I am not alone anymore," she whispered, "and I will never be alone again." Outside, the stars moved slowly across the sky. Lyra watched them, her chest swelling with hope. She had survived, she had found safety, and she had a home. She understood now that strength came from more than survival. It came from trust, courage, and someone who believed in you. And for the first time, Lyra felt that she could face anything the universe might send her way, because she was no longer alone, and she had someone who would never leave her side. The sun rose slowly over the human settlement, casting soft light over the small buildings and the gardens where Lyra had learned to walk and run freely. She stepped outside, feeling the warm air on her skin, her glow a calm, steady gold. It had been weeks since the authority envoys had come, weeks since she had been forced to face the fear of being returned. Now, she felt something she had never experienced before. Safety. Evan walked beside her, carrying a small basket of supplies for the morning. He glanced at her occasionally, smiling quietly. "You are ready," he said. "Today is the day you start something new." Lyra looked at him, puzzled. "Something new?" she asked. "Yes," Evan said. "Not just for you, but for others like you. You have survived so much. Now you can help. You can show others of your species that humans are not afraid, that there are places where they can belong." Lyra's glow pulsed with excitement and nervousness. She had never thought about helping others before. She had always been focused on surviving, on being accepted, on finding someone who would stay. And now she had the chance to do more. She could change the lives of others like her. The first group arrived soon after, escorted by humans who had prepared the settlement for them. Lyra watched as small, frightened figures stepped from their transport. They were like she had been, unsure, scared, unsure if anyone would care. Her heart ached. She remembered every moment she had felt alone, every time she had been returned, every time she had been told she was too much. Evan guided them gently. "This is a safe place," he said. "You can stay."
You are not dangerous. You are welcome here.
The children hesitated, their eyes wide as they looked at Lyra. She stepped forward slowly, her small hand raised in greeting. I know how you feel, she said softly. I know what it is like to be alone, to be returned, to think no one will ever stay. But you can trust them, and you can trust me. You are safe now. Some of the children blinked, unsure. Others edged closer, drawn by her calm glow and her quiet words. Lyra realized that she could help them feel what she had only just begun to feel herself. She could be the person she had needed when she was alone. She could be the reason someone survived. The days passed in a rhythm of learning, care, and trust building. Lyra helped the children explore the gardens, teaching them to control their emotions, to breathe slowly, to calm themselves when fear threatened to overwhelm them. She showed them that their glow could be a gift, a sign of their strength, rather than a reason to be rejected. Evan watched her from a distance, proud. He had never seen anyone adapt so quickly, so naturally. She had survived everything the universe had thrown at her, and now she was not just surviving. She was leading, teaching, and protecting. The news of Lyra's settlement spread across the frontier worlds. Other humans and authorities watched closely, some skeptical, some hopeful. They sent messages, curious and cautious, asking to study the methods humans use to care for her species. Lyra understood the significance. She realized that what she had endured and survived could change the way her species was treated across the galaxy. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky with soft oranges and purples, Lyra sat with Evan by the observation window. The children had gone to sleep, tired but happy, their glow soft and steady. Lyra rested her head on Evan's shoulder, feeling the warmth of safety and trust. "I never thought this would happen," she whispered. "I never thought I could feel safe, or that anyone would believe in me." Evan smiled.
You survived everything because you are strong. You survived because you never gave up completely.
And you are strong enough now to help others survive too? Lyra closed her eyes, feeling a deep peace she had never known. She thought of the children she had helped, the humans who had protected her, the journey through danger and fear that had brought her here. She realized that strength was not just about surviving danger. It was about surviving fear, surviving rejection, and trusting someone enough to let them stay. Days turned into weeks, and Lyra's role in the settlement grew. She guided new arrivals, spoke for them when they were too afraid, and showed them that humans could be trusted. The settlement became known across the frontier as a place where her species could live freely, without fear, without being returned, without being rejected. Authorities monitored from afar, cautious but impressed. They had expected failure, chaos, and instability. Instead, they saw a thriving community, children who were learning, smiling, and glowing in controlled, healthy colors. Lyra had not just survived, she had created a sanctuary. One day, a small child, trembling and hesitant, came to Lyra. "Will you stay with me?" the child asked softly, fear in their eyes. Lyra knelt down, smiling gently. "I will stay," she said. "I will not leave you. You are safe now." And for the first time, she felt the full meaning of those words. She was not alone. She was not just surviving. She was home. Evan stood nearby, watching the interaction. He felt a deep pride, knowing that this little girl who had been returned 7 times, who had been considered incompatible with almost everyone, had finally found her place. She had survived the impossible. She had thrived. She had changed the world around her. The stars outside the observation window shimmered, distant and eternal. Lyra looked at them and felt hope, strength, and courage. She had endured fear, danger, and rejection, and she had come out stronger. She had a home, a family, and a purpose. And for the first time, she knew the truth. She was never too much. She was never too dangerous. She was never alone. The settlement thrived, and more children like her arrived, guided by the knowledge that humans could care for them in ways others could not. Lyra taught them to trust, to survive, to shine without fear. Her glow pulsed gently in the soft light of the settlement, a symbol of hope, strength, and resilience. Evan stood beside her, quiet and steady. "You did it," he whispered. "You survived everything, and you gave them a chance they never had before." "You are incredible." Lyra smiled softly, her glow warm and steady. "We did it," she replied. "I am not alone, and now neither are they." The stars outside continued their slow journey across the sky, infinite and bright. Lyra watched them, her chest full of hope and courage. She had survived the impossible. She had endured rejection, fear, and danger. She had found a home, a family, and a purpose. And now she knew that no matter what came next, she could face it. She was strong. She was loved. She was not alone. She was free. The universe was vast, but for the first time, Lyra felt that she truly belonged in it, and she would never be returned again.